Welcome to another episode of the Monday Mindset. We are so excited that you are here. We are right in the middle of a season, or almost not in the middle. We're actually at the end of our season. Celebrate the day to where we are seeing every single day as a gift. And the Monday Mindset is a conversation that offers reflection, encouragement, and next steps to kickstart your week. And Brandon, man, always excited to be doing this with you, man.
Oh yeah, ready to go.
Can you believe we're almost at the end of this season?
It's crazy. It flew by.
It really has. So this is season 2, episode 9, and we got one more to go in this season.
It's pretty wild.
Pretty wild.
Season 2.
Pumped up though. Pumped up. So, as always, starting off with some questions. Today, as you can see by the title, it's called Living Generously. Living Generously. And we're going to dive into this whole idea, but let's just have some fun little questions for you, Brandon.
All right.
If your income doubled overnight, how much money would you give away?
It doubled overnight.
Would you give any away?
Yeah, I would definitely give some away.
You're a liar. No way.
Definitely.
No way. No way.
Oh,
you think you would?
Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, let me ask you this one.
We'll dive into it, but yeah,
How about if your net worth were suddenly over $1 million, $100 million? Your net worth just increased overnight to $100 million.
Oh yeah.
Then what would you do?
First I would take care of, first I would tithe. Then I'd take care of my family, my whole family. So they wouldn't have to worry about a house payment. They wouldn't have to worry about any of that, pay off their...
That'd be $10 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just fund the Grayson campus.
Yeah, there you go.
You get a building.
You get a building.
Aaron, you get a car. Hey, everybody gets a car.
Hey.
I think that'd be awesome. Me and Mason.
I'm telling you right now, we would fly, if that happened, we would be flying to Disney World, then Disneyland to shoot 2 episodes of Monday Mindset. And then we would hop on a Disney cruise and film the next one. I'm just saying. I mean,
Disney special.
That's right.
Be incredible.
Season 3,
all Disney.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We just talk about Disney the whole time.
Yeah.
$100 million. I can't even fathom it.
I know. It really is wild to think about, how much money that actually is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy thing.
Wasn't it Fernando Tatis Jr., baseball player that just signed for do you know Mason? Yeah, I think it was over $100 million.
Are you serious? How many years?
I could be wrong.
Dude, that's crazy.
Way wrong.
That's crazy.
But it's something crazy like that.
Well, baseball started really...
130? 330 million dollars.
$330 million.
I know it was a bunch.
For a baseball player?
Baseball player.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I can remember the first pitcher. It was $144 million. The guy from the Dodgers.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
More recent?
It's probably been 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years.
Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wonder what he's doing right now.
Oh, he's pitching for him.
Is he worth $144 million?
Depends. I mean, they won the World Series last year. He was their ace.
That could be something.
Walker Buehler was on that team from Lexington.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. It's just crazy. I can't hardly even fathom that amount of money, but
I know. I'm whoa.
The question is, though,
yeah, I'd definitely give it away.
The question is, how much would you give away? So you say $10 million, you tithe.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Then I'm paying off family debt and probably buying them a house. Letting them choose a house and a car, each of them.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I would need some security of some sort. I had that much money.
Probably.
And then, definitely. I love giving to the community because I think that there really is something special about a community being there for each other.
Yeah.
So that stuff, and then just one of my favorite things though is just random acts of kindness. Just people you don't know.
Sure.
Sure. And that's one of those things where it's me personally, I don't like people to know if I pay for something of theirs or give to them.
I got you. Yeah.
That's kind of how I am.
What about if you were the richest person in the world? How much would you give away?
Mason, what's the richest person in the world? I just got to know. Like how much money that is.
Probably billions.
Yeah.
I don't think trillions yet.
You know Dogecoin?
Yeah.
I saw a thing last night that with Dogecoin, there was a person who sold their Dogecoin for like, it was like $10 billion.
Like, what even is that? Like, what? I don't.
What's the richest person?
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Huh?
182 billion. We were just talking about $100 million, but 182 billion.
Honestly, so it's funny that we talk about this because I've actually thought about this before. 100
million would go into 1 billion 10 times.
I know, it's unbelievable.
So we're talking 182 times that?
Times 100
million, yeah. My mind's getting blown right now with the mathematics and the zeros going through my head.
I know, I can't fathom it. But I've actually thought about this a little bit before. And if something like that were to happen, I think it would be so cool to go throughout the state and kind of pay off church's debt.
Oh, nice.
And then also hospital debt.
Yeah. There you go. I like that. That's a pretty good touch. I don't know. That's a good question.
I would have my dream car.
See, I don't even know.
I don't
even know where I would land. I'm going to say all this. Maybe one day I'll become a millionaire. I don't know. But I have no plans right now to be a millionaire. I guess, like there's nothing I'd be doing right now that would give me $1 million or be a millionaire. Maybe once I start investing a little bit more, maybe that'd lead me to be a millionaire. But to be honest, I just don't know what I don't know what I would do. I would be the guy that had $10 million sitting in his bank account. And I probably wouldn't change the way I lived because I wouldn't know how to spend it.
Yeah.
Like I would be almost like afraid to spend it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I think that I would obviously hire a financial advisor as well to help me with that stuff. I think one of the biggest things I would do though, like activity wise, is I would go to every big sporting event.
Oh yeah.
I would be playing golf or being on a boat every day.
See, I don't even think I would do that. I don't know if my life would change that much. I don't know if I...
See, I do.
Let me challenge it.
Because I would have my wife with me at all times. Like, because she wouldn't have to work. So it would be a game changer in the sense of, hey, what do you want to do today? So it would be like, So like for me, like I'm thinking like she loves going golfing.
Okay.
She loves going out on
this is going to be good. So Brandon Sparks then becomes basically the most fun living married man in the world.
Exactly.
And him and his wife just travel and go to every major sporting event and game imaginable.
Exactly.
So
and she loves it. That's the thing. She loves sports.
So
she loves
this is going to get interesting. I'm kind of the opposite. I don't know what I would do. There'd probably be some things, sure. And I just really don't know. I really don't know what I'll do. Could you imagine, what if you flipped the script? You made, this is crazy. You made $100 million and you only lived on $10 million. That's incredible. Like if you gave $90 million of it away.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't even know what I would give it to. That's probably a big thing that people struggle with in general. What do I give what do I give my finances to? Even going, you made $100 million and you only lived off of $100,000. You'd still have a pretty good life.
Oh, you'd have a great life.
I don't know. It's interesting.
You would.
But ask the question. But what we often find, or basically what you see, is that generosity, normally, I would say it can increase by the amount that you make, but yet, just because you make more doesn't make it any easier to give away.
No.
I would say that's the truth.
No.
I would say that's... now, let's look at this flip side. So Brandon's living his dream life. How are you spending your time? Are you being generous with your time? How much of your time would you give away to others?
Yeah, so with that, I mean, kind of diving in, like I said, I would love to do stuff with my wife and do that. And because honestly, right now, our time is limited. I mean, she drives an hour and a half one way every day. She leaves at 5, like 5:30, 6 in the morning. And then she gets home, and before too long, it's time for bed. So like, we have some time on the weekend, and then also living like, I know it's not far, but 45 minutes away from my family. I've lost a lot of time that I would love to make up in the sense of like with my nephews, nieces, and just my family as a whole. So I feel like I would kind of let them choose like, hey, what do you all want to do today?
Okay.
So
in that you go sense, with your family?
Yeah. So would love that. But then also, I'm super passionate about going to hospitals and stuff. That's just something that like before COVID, I would do sometimes on the weekend, just to like see people and pray with people. So for me, that's something I would love to do. I would love to be able to go to a hospital and go. One of the like places for me is the Ronald McDonald House. It's super special for me. And so I would love to go there and just be with people and help people out. So I would give my time a lot to that, but also a lot to family, friends. And of course, with that kind of money, you have new opportunities. It's
well,
like,
you're making tough decisions on what, you've got your time built up in and going to all the major sporting events and getting your
but major sporting events. I mean, you got the World Series once a year.
Sure.
Finals once a year.
Hey, you keep going.
The Conor McGregor fight.
Keep going.
Coming up.
Yep.
You have. I would probably go to the NHL. I don't know what it's called. Is it
Stanley
Cup? Yeah.
I think that's it.
They get the Stanley Cup. I don't know. It's playoffs. And then I mean,
World Cup,
the World Series.
Yeah.
World Cup for soccer would be amazing.
So lots of events. Now, here's the thing. So you're saying you give it. Now, here's where I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit.
Yeah.
What if there were 48 hours in a day? What are you doing with the extra 24?
Sleeping. No.
And really what I ask is, how generous would you be with the extra 24 hours?
Yeah. So for me, honestly, I would probably take a little bit of the extra time for myself. That's one thing I'm bad at. Like I'm bad at actually self-care. So like actually being healthy and like doing stuff for me. Because if you notice with this, what I'm talking about a lot is running.
Sure.
Whether it's going for people, like places or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's something like in my everyday life that even like my wife, she's like, hey, you need to slow down. Like you need to slow down and take care of you.
Yeah.
So I would probably take some of that to do that, to kind of refuel. But man, if I had the extra 24.
That is the word. That's the statement, and that's the look right there.
Yeah.
That's the one. And that's really what I want to dive into, today. That's the like, if I only had 24 more hours.
Yeah.
And then we have the smile like, oh, the incredible things that I would do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Oh, if I only had a few more $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh man, the incredible things. Or if I had $1 million, all the most incredible things I would do in my life. But what we find in general is that, man, it is hard to choose every day to live generously.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard. There's a quote I got for us. Greatness is not defined by what a person receives, but by what the person gives. And really, we're talking about generosity in two ways. Giving others our money, that's the first way, and then giving others ourselves.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the first one. And really with money, true generosity isn't a function of income. It really begins with the heart.
Yeah.
It's about serving others and looking for ways to add value to them. One of the famous quotes in Scripture, Scripture talks a ton about money, but everybody knows this one. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And we see this all the way throughout. But why is it so easy for us to really put our identities in our income, or maybe even just not allow ourselves or our heart to be equipped to be generous? What's the difficulties there, you think?
Yeah, I think one thing with that we become so tied up with our income is because our income comes from a certain job. And I think that so often what we do tends to be who we think we are. I'm a basketball player. Oh, I'm this. And so if you're not making a high income, you associate yourself with just this lower class, this kind of quote unquote nobody that like you get inside of your head, and it's like, well, my amount of money doesn't add up to anything, so it doesn't matter if I give. It's
like based on the amount of money that I receive for doing this job, we put less value in that. And you could basically go through all of the major professions. The highest level ones are doctor, lawyer, throw in another one, scientist, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Higher money, higher value on their status or on their job. And then you can continue to go on and on. A truck driver. Nobody's saying, hey, go and be a truck driver. Yeah. Why not? It's a great living.
Yeah.
But it's all based on the income, right? And I think we can put our identity in that so much.
Yeah. And I think with that as well, that we hold so much value to that, and like to our income, that it's like, man, my treasure is nothing that no one would want, essentially, because of the amount, because of the dollar sign with it. So I think that a lot of times we become greedy as well, because it's like, well, I need it just as much as they do.
Absolutely.
I couldn't give up my money because I need it more than them. I need it more than this.
So there's a huge selfish component of it that comes into play. Your wants, your own desires begin to play those things out. Yeah. It's tough.
Greed, the enemy of generosity.
Greed, jealousy. What would be covet? To be able to covet, to want, to desire what others have, to not be socially outcast or to be socially different, based on the way that you live or based on the things that you have. Yeah, your pride. So you can see finances and generosity really get at the root of a lot of ugly, just things you would call sins, really, of the sinful nature. And it's funny. I mean, it's like there's a reason I think Scripture talks about this so much, but it's very difficult. It's difficult. This is what got me. Let me tell you a little story. We were up at not the Huntington Mall. We were up at Target. Mm-hmm. Target's where you go and spend $100 every time you walk through the door. Yep. There's no way around it. Yeah. No way around it. I firmly believe it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, oh yeah, I need one thing. You leave there with 20.
They have everything.
Yes.
They legit have everything.
It's crazy. So we're pulling out of the parking lot, and we carry some cash. We try to do a little Dave Ramsey with the envelopes. So we got some cash on hand. And right there, man, right before we're making the turn back, coming down the hill from the Target, dude, there's a homeless guy just sitting there with the sign. I thought, frick. And you have this, and I say like, well, crap. You know what I mean? And it's horrible, but I know we all think it isn't like, we are not having the mindset of like, there's a homeless person, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I get to be generous today. Yeah. No, there's a conviction that comes. So I drove down the hill, and I said, Aaron, you are sorry. That was what I thought. I was just all sorts of different things, lots of emotions, lots of convictions. I was wrong. I turned left, swing back up the hill, and I said, Emily, find a 10. I didn't have a 10. I just had 20s. And Emily looked at me. And it's, once again, I knew I had plenty of 20s, but I was like, nah, he's just getting 10. It's like, Lord, forgive me. And Emily said, Aaron, just give him a 20. And in my heart was like, no, not the 20. We're talking about $10. We just spent $125 in Target.
Yeah.
But yet we couldn't be generous to the guy, not knowing his story, not knowing his heart, but just genuinely just giving a gift, being generous.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult. So I passed on him once, and then I wanted to lowball him. Yeah. And then my wife says, Aaron, quit being so daggone cheap and greedy and give him a 20.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it was almost like, you know what, you just need to take all of it, because obviously I don't deserve, you know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of things, but I was like, those are moments that happen, I think, all the time. But all the emotions that I played out in that one moment, I think, are things that we deal with every single day, every month, every time the check comes in. It's hard to let go.
Yeah,
hard to let go.
What do you think was your hardest part of letting go of that amount?
Of the amount?
Money? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would just really be like, what would be the difference between a 10 and a 20?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. But it was just like this is going to sound horrible. It's like, what's the worth? Like, what's the worth of that person, or what's the worth of that gift? And like, whenever even $20, like I said, can't go very far. 10 wouldn't go very far either. But it was just like in that moment, you're probably just thinking, no, this is all he deserves.
Yeah.
Or this is all he should get.
Yeah.
And he's lucky that I'm even giving him a 10 and not just a buck.
Yeah.
What is that? That's wrong, man.
For me, I'm always like, I always try to justify with, well, kind of with what I was saying. Well, I need this amount for this. Like you said, you do the envelopes.
Yeah.
So me and Abby, we've done the envelopes, and so you have it set up for certain things. It's like, well, I need this money here for this. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, well, maybe I can swing $10, but I don't know about 20.
Yeah.
Maybe I can swing. Yeah. So a lot of times you try to justify it, but then also the other part of it is, well, what are they going to use it for?
Yeah.
And I think that so often that it's like for me, it's like, well, man, all I have to do is be obedient to what God is telling me to do. And then it's out of my control. Like,
but how arrogant,
but we try to do that.
How arrogant is that of us?
Exactly.
To believe that we're so much better with our money.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this $20? Probably end up going to Starbucks. Like, honestly. Yes. And it's like, man, like, and I'm in the exact same boat. That's why I asked that, because that's what happens to me. And then I had to go, man, I have a pride issue to where it's like that. I think that I'm handling it. I'm handling God's money better. And in all honesty, I'm probably not. Right. This dude's looking for a meal and I'm looking for clothes. So like that, it's basically.
All those emotions I think are real and true. And that is why it's so hard to live generously. Now let's look at the other, giving others yourself. You know, what do people often value way more than money?
Yeah.
Your time and attention. Ask every single toddler this question, and it's our toddler's heart that really come true. A toddler has no idea what a $10 bill is, but has every idea and belief and concept of what it means to just be, to sit down and to play with them. 100%. So which one would take greater effort, writing a check or giving your time?
Man, my time. I'm busy. Like, honestly, like that's one thing, like, with like going, especially with my family being in Grayson, I even battle like with the thoughts of I'm not a good enough son, I'm not a good enough husband, I'm not a good enough fill in the blank, simply because I'm not able to be at everything.
Absolutely.
So like for the time thing, man, that's huge for me. That, man, if I'm being honest, my priorities are a little everywhere, and so I think that that's why I struggle with my time so much. Not that I don't want to give my time. Honestly, it may be, quote unquote, easier to give my time in comparison to money, because I look at money and a lot of times I go, well, I need this, like, got to boom, 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 fill in the blank. But my time is so full that it's harder to give, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And you fight for it. And then whenever you do have time for yourself, that's normally whenever the debate comes between, your family wants you, or your, the birthday parties or the ball games, all that stuff comes up. And man, it's just hard to say no.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of are in the same boat. We kind of talked, a couple of weeks ago about being people pleasers and wanting to please our families, and all those things I think play into it. Man, I heard a pastor, he was talking though, he was kind of really encouraging in this mindset. It's kind of different though. He was extremely generous with his time. To the point to where he knew that his family and that his son wasn't getting the time that he deserved and the time that he should have got. But the minister at this time said, but I hope that he sees the great good and the great worth that I'm doing. And I hope that more than anything becomes, even though I have maybe missed out on moments with him, but I hope that he will grow to understand the great value in doing God's work and the great value of basically giving himself to the ministry. And I'm like, that was tough. That was tough. And I've just really thought about that a whole lot. I think there's balance in everything, but I think we add a lot of things. We talked about priorities a few weeks ago, and it's like, some things are just getting our time that probably just shouldn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're trying to fight for our own time.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a selfishness in there that's not rooted in where God wants us to be. Because a lot of times we'll say we need time for ourselves. But in no way did Jesus ever say, I need time with myself. Jesus always said, I need time with God.
Yeah.
And that was where he always drew away, not to get alone with God.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with like the extra 24 hours. And that's really what I meant was a lot of times I drain myself physically, but also spiritually for others that I'm not filling myself up spiritually and physically, getting the rest that I need. Like, even if it's like rest in him, like just taking a walk and just fixing my focus on him and getting my focus back and just my perspectives back. Because I think whenever my perspective shifts, then my priorities do too. And I think that a lot of times that with that selfishness, that a lot of times we're selfish and we don't realize it. That if you're being honest, a lot of the things that you're doing that's taking up your time, you're saying that you have to do. But if you're being real, you want to do them. Yeah. And you're filling them with things that you want to do, and you're blaming it on other things. And it's like, well, you don't have to do this, but you want to. So and a lot of it comes from people pleasing. Yeah, it does. And FOMO. Yeah. Yeah. So and there's that too. You're so afraid of missing out on something. And so that's something that I think that we all walk through at some point. Yeah, absolutely. I was reading, preparing for this one. It was this idea. It says the service we render to others is really the rent we pay for our room on this earth. It is obvious that man is himself a traveler, that the purpose of this world is not to have and to hold, but to give and to serve. I was like, and it says there can be no other meaning. And I was just like, man, that hits home. That hits home. But it's like, I think you look at legacies in general. You look at family members who have gone before you. You will never remember even the amount of money that they had, but you always remember the value that they placed on you and the love and support that they gave you. I think you asked a simple question of like, who is some of the most influential people in your life? Yeah. And it probably wasn't the guy that wrote you, $1,000 check, even though in the moment that was incredible. Yeah. But it was probably your Uncle Terry. Yeah. That invested in you and loved you and cared for you. That's what I was about to say. Like, I think of that, and I can't even think of, not in like a bad way, because I'm sure they've given me amazing gifts. I can't think of one gift that they gave me. Yeah. Right now I can't. But I know instead of a present, he was present. Yeah. So that's like, and that's really good. Absolutely. That's something that, wow. I like that. That's really good. Yeah. I don't remember a present that he gave me, but he was present. That's good, man. That's good. So we asked the question, how do we be generous today? We're all about celebrating the day. And today we want to live generously. And here are 3 things real fast that we want to help you do and help even ourselves, challenge ourselves to do this week, even today, to be generous. And number 1, don't wait for prosperity to become generous. Yeah. A person's level of income and their desire to give has nothing to do with one another. Nothing to do with one another. Yeah. And I think this is so true. We have seen people that have tons of money that give tremendously, but have no heart in it. Yeah. Have no heart in it. And so we really see that from this instant, from today, you can be generous, and it has nothing to do with your level of income. No, not at all. It's where your heart is. Where's your heart? Where's your heart? Where's your treasure is, your heart is also. Oh, it's challenging. Man, I was just thinking of that homeless guy. It's wrecking me. You're about to drive back up there to see if he's there. Yeah, gosh. What would I do? And it's like a challenge. What do I do? And then it's like you can get convicting about it, man. It's like... being honest, like, I'm going to be very vulnerable. Last month, we were a little tighter on money than what we were hoping for. And, like, we had budgeted out. And it was like, all right, we're still good, but we were a little tighter. So it was like no extra wiggle room here. And I went to go get our food. I went to go pick up our food. And whenever I did, man, God put this guy on my heart. And I looked for another parking spot. No other parking spots. So I had to pull right there. And I had to sit there and look at him. And I was like, man, all right. And I was sitting there, and I'm not joking. I pulled out a pen. I pulled out a piece of paper. Like, okay, how can we do this? And I was like, all right, his meal will probably be $10 to $15. Yeah. With tip. I'll leave tip and everything. $10 to $15. That's what it is. I get up there, the dude had ordered $27 worth. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But God had put him on my heart. Yeah. And I knew. Yeah. And it was like, I was like, man. I was like, okay. And man, God blessed us. and I was obedient.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, man, God will provide your needs. Mm-hmm. He will. But
Absolutely.
do you believe it?
Absolutely.
And I think that so often, a lot of times we look to ourselves to provide whenever he says, I'm your provider.
Right. Absolutely, man. The second one, find a reason to give every day. You see, it may be easy for people to find reasons not to give, but it's just as easy to find good reasons to give. They're all around us. And so it's just having that perspective and that mindset. So whenever I see that homeless person next time, it's not oh crap, I have to give. It's no, I get to give because God has just provided an opportunity for me to bless somebody and to be a blessing in their life.
I mean, it's what we talk about at church when your get to turns to a got to. You lost your gratitude.
Yeah.
And man,
Absolutely.
I think that's so often with us. I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Absolutely. Then the third one, find people to receive your generosity every single day. D.L. Moody said, do all that you can to all the people you can in all the ways that you can as long as you can. Ultimately, the recipients of your generosity are not organizations, are not just churches, are not just coworkers, but they are individual people. And understanding that the generosity that you give to them through your money and through your time impacts them individually in ways that we could never imagine. Never imagine. And so the challenge today is really just asking the simple question, how can you be generous to others today and every day? Be generous today. Look for ways to be generous. And Martin Luther, he said it like this: life's most persistent question and urgent question is, what are we doing for others? So live today with that question in mind.
That's so good.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
Good. One thing I noticed about generosity as well, it's contagious.
It is contagious.
So whenever you're generous, and today I just want to encourage you, give yourself today and give your time to someone, be generous. But one thing that I noticed as well, and hey, if you're able to do this, if you feel called to do this, man, I encourage you to do it. But one thing that I noticed is someone paid for my meal a while back and paid it forward. And man, it was something I was like, man, they paid for my meal. Man, I'm going to pay for the next person's meal. And it's contagious. So just know that, man, your generosity, it does go a long way. It doesn't just stop with you, but it continues on. So how can you be generous today?
Absolutely. Guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Monday Mindset.